Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to take a look at these and I'm going to talk a little bit about why I have these. Because it's actually a horrendously terrible story. But let's take a look at them. So for this video's purpose, I have these connected to my Switch so that I'm not recording audio through here and messing up everything by taking them in and out to show you all of their features and everything. But we have to start this video off talking about why I have these. Now, why on earth did I get these? Right? So, it seems obvious, for sports. But the fact of the matter is, I had the Sony Sport Buds. These ones with the donut holes in the middle. And to be perfectly honest, I wish I still had them so that I could tell you how terrible they are and go into even more detail. But essentially, I had them for probably less than 6 months, and I really tried to like them. They had a lot of issues, actually. But they were amazing because they were so passive. I felt safe riding my bike in the summer on the roads. I could even carry on a conversation without having to pause my music, and it was great. But they are potentially the worst earbuds I've ever owned in my entire life. So let's talk about that before we get into those. So you may be wondering, what could be so bad about those? They're Sony, they're obviously going to sound pretty okay, and they're designed for one specific thing and one thing only. And while typically products that are designed for one thing and one thing only are absolutely amazing, in this case, it didn't really work out because they were so obsessed with the idea of having passive noise that they forgot about sound quality, which I wasn't expecting much, but it was bad. And then they didn't think about comfort. So the way those would fit in your ear is it was just one hard piece of plastic. There was no silicone tip or anything, and it would just sit in your ear, locked in with a little wing tip like these. And to be perfectly honest with you, they are the most uncomfortable thing ever, especially once you start sweating. And I know what you're thinking, because I thought it too. I was like, shouldn't these be a little more comfortable when you're sweating because they're for sports? And then we get into a whole new problem with these. Not these, the Sonys. If they weren't in your ear exactly at the right angles for your ear, the audio would fade from left to right, depending on which one was fitted properly. So, for example, let's say you had it over here in the right ear, and it was fitting perfect, but over here on the left side, it wasn't at the right proper angle. The audio would be shifted over. And I know what you're thinking, well, just maneuver them. Well, the problem is you can never get both of them fit perfectly. The slightest adjustment would throw them off center and toss the fade from one side or the other. And that was a huge problem for me, personally. Now, the good thing about them was they did have an equalizer, and the equalizer actually worked in the app. So you would get richer bass, so they would actually sound pretty okay. The problem is the fading left to right because of that issue. And once you got them dialed in, they were pretty great, honestly. The touch controls were really bizarre. It was more like a knocking. You would actually tap the side of your face, basically. And yeah, if you were riding a bike, it would set them off. And it would pause the music, fast forward the music, lower the volume, the whole 9 yards. But the biggest reason I liked them was because the case was so tiny. And then on top of that, the earbuds themselves were super small. And I thought this was great. But they're not great. So fast forward to fall, when my biking kind of slows down and I don't go out as often because it's getting colder. I sold them. I got rid of them, and I looked all over the place for something similar. And this was basically the only thing I could find that really had that passive ambient sound instead of using noise canceling, because everything that's noise canceling costs like $100 more. And I put these on my Christmas wish list, and I got them for Christmas from my in-laws. But that's not to say this won't be an honest review. I'm acting as if I purchased them because I was going to anyway. So let's get into those. So, if you aren't familiar with Sennheiser, Sennheiser has been around for quite some time. And their biggest thing that they sell products for is studios, music studios, film and TV, selling monitor headphones and speaker monitors, as well as other types of equipment. And in the past 20 years, they've really geared more towards less commercial and more residential users, and they have been whipping up some really cool products. They have quite a few True Wireless earbuds now, and they do have True Wireless headphones as well. And they have noise canceling, they have, all the features you could ever ask for. But I went minimalistic with these because I did not want noise canceling, and I'll get into why. So these are the Bose Quiet Comforts. I used to use these while cycling until I realized that it's extremely dangerous with the ambient mode. So these are noise canceling earbuds, right? They do a great job in a quiet environment. Let's just say that. So what's the problem with them, right? There has to be some reason that you stopped using them, and there is. So what these do is, once a noise reaches a specific frequency and decibel range, the microphones pop like a normal microphone would in a loud environment. It would pop, and the speakers would get the feedback, and it would make quite the loud popping sound in your ear. Now, I have really sensitive hearing, so maybe I'm just a wimp, but it's a painful pop. It's really loud. And what I realized was these don't do anything for wind noise whatsoever. And I almost destroyed these completely. So what happened with these was I went for a bike ride, and I maybe got a quarter mile from home, and they basically just stopped working. No audio. And I thought to myself, this really isn't a big deal. I'll just fix them when I'm home. They probably lost connection or something, so I took them out, put them in my backpack, and kept riding. Anyway, I get home, and they don't work for, I think it was about 3 weeks before they started working again, thanks to an update. Now, that update they released did absolutely nothing for the microphone popping, so these are worthless at work and on a bike. So my biggest goal with these was to find something that did not have active noise canceling or some kind of weird ambient mode. And I found it. And so to get into detail on how these work is, it's basically like the Sennheiser HD600 headphones. They're basically open back. You can literally see a light through there, and you can hear everything. My biggest issue was trying to find something that allowed enough noise in, like the Sony's did, that I would feel safe riding my bike on the open road. Now it's winter time, so I haven't been able to test these properly, but I have used them at work in a noisy environment, and I can hear things in some pretty high ranges. So I feel like they're safe enough, but I want to get into the negatives first with these. So these sound fantastic. They sound better than any true wireless earbuds I've used. Besides those Bose, they do actually sound really good. And you can mess with the equalizer and get great sound. But I'm going to review those later, get those out of here. Get out of here. These sound great right out of the box. There's really not much you need to do. So we have Sennheiser Signature Sound. That's what they're going to call it. They're going to go the way that Bose did and say that they have a signature sound. This is how all of their stuff's tuned. The problem with that is Sennheiser doesn't have a signature sound. All of their products sound different. I think what they mean to say is Sennheiser clarity? No, I don't know what they're going for here. But they are very clear, like any Sennheiser headphone or speaker monitor you'd purchase. So that's that. But what else do we have here? We have adaptive acoustics. I'm going to get into that here in a minute. We're going to skip that. Secure customized fit. They went the Bose route. They have the little wings. Sony's doing this. JBL's doing this. Raycon has some like this. It's becoming the standard because it's much more secure. And a lot of people gravitate towards this style rather than the wingless earbuds. Like Sennheiser's Momentums don't come with the wings, but a lot of people are checking these out now because it has the wings. It's a much more secure fit. It's not going anywhere, and if you do decide to go do some hard work with your earbuds in, they're not going anywhere. And I do have to say, though, with these wingtips, that's hard to tell, but they're not as soft as the silicone ear tips. They're a lot harder, and they're pointed directly into your ear. They're kind of painful. That's a negative with these, is they're a little painful, to be honest with you. But if you get them fit right, you can kind of twist them back a little bit and it doesn't cut into your ears much. That being said, there's really just a mild grievance with them. And they have sweat and splash resistant, which is pretty much standard with any wireless earbud now. Yeah, you're going to have a really hard time finding earbuds that aren't waterproof anymore. I think that's becoming a very big standard. Just like I think these wingtips are going to become a standard among most wireless earbuds. And since I have the box, I guess we can take a look inside, and I'm going to get into these acoustics. So they have focus and aware. So the way these work is quite interesting. They have 2 sets of silicone tips. Ear tips. If you're in the gym or you're out about jogging in the desert. And the way it works is how they have this set up is you can have basically closed back ear adapters, and there's a focus mode in the app. And then you have your open ear adapters, which are the blue ones, and you can have it set to aware. Now, that's fine and dandy, and we'll get into why it's kind of odd that they would market it this way, but here's your extra ear tips. So, as you can see, the ones that block out noise the most have an X on them, and the other ones are see-through with blue filters, basically. Now, it sounds gimmicky, it sounds silly, but it works. The biggest issue I have with this is that where are you supposed to put these to carry with you in case you run into a noisy environment? It's like you have to set up everything at home and then you can go. if they had a better carrying case, and with as big as this case here is, you would think they'd have some kind of idea of storage for this. I don't know. I really don't know. It's just a mild inconvenience for most people. Maybe you can just toss this in your backpack and you're good to go. Don't get me wrong though, I do love this idea because it drives the price down. These are actually very affordable. They're about $100 right now, and you get 9 hours of battery life, I believe. Yeah, 9 hours of battery life, 18 hours in the case. That's pretty unbeatable right now on the market because everything has noise canceling, and that noise canceling really drives up the price for one, and then it drags down the battery. And while we're on the subject of the case battery, another pretty major negative in my opinion is all you have is this little dot light. That's the only thing that tells you anything about the battery in this, besides the app, which never ever is consistent with showing you your case battery life. Basically, if it's green, you're fine. If it's yellow or orange, like that light up there, it basically means you're fine, I think. And then there's red, where it's like they're gonna die in like a couple minutes of charging, so don't even bother. I wish that they had done anything different with this light. Like, check out the bows, okay? We got some nice LEDs there that tell us our battery life, and it'll actually blink and let you know you need to charge it. That's great. This doesn't really do a whole lot, and from what I understand, a lot of Sennheiser's products are like this. And they're trying to push forward the app, using the app as much as possible, which I think is kind of an issue for most companies because they have a hard time keeping the app up to date and dealing with all of the issues that these earbuds or the case may have. And while we're on the subject of the app works fine. They have an equalizer that doesn't work. So essentially, like with the Bose, and I'm going to keep going back to these, the equalizer, you change stuff in the app for that, and you can completely change how these sound. It is really cool. With these, you turn the bass up just one notch, and your vocals are muddy, you're losing treble, so then you turn up your treble a little bit, and now it's just a mess. And this is just one slight adjustment, and they are completely worthless. I see this as a huge negative, because essentially you can't even use the product the way they have designed it. You don't get to use the equalizer very well, because it just doesn't work right. They do have presets for different genres that it kind of works. Essentially, they've preset it with their own equalizer adjustments for pop, rock, all these different genres, and I think some of them are okay, but I don't think any of them are great. So if you buy these, pretty much just plan on leaving them on their factory settings. They sound fine. Actually, they sound great. But if you're looking for something that you can customize your listening experience, this isn't it. And in the app, you can change from aware to focus mode with the push of a screen. It's kind of cool. It's actually really cool to use the blue ones and switch it to aware, or use the closed ones and switch it to focus, because it really shows you how much of a difference they make and how they sound. Believe it or not, with the right earbuds and the right settings on the app, each one sounds exactly the same. Like, exactly the same. It's really cool. And I mean, that's all of the negatives. I got these because I knew they would sound good. Or I knew they would, and they absolutely do. But yeah, this is what they look like. They do have touch controls. One tap is to play or pause. 2 taps is to skip or to hold it. You can turn it up with the right or turn it down with the left. You do have voice assistant for Google and Siri if you hold this one, or I think it's the triple press. Whatever. Either way, it works great. And I'm having a hard time finding more negatives. The positives are 9 hours of battery life on a single charge. The negative for that is they're not comfortable enough to wear for 9 hours. And another positive is they sound fantastic. The negative for that is you can't really change the sound. Now I'm going to get into some of the scientificness of these. These are basically just open back. They have little filters that allow a lot of noise to come in, essentially making them open back earbuds, which does actually affect the sound quality. So these are supposed to make you more aware because they're open, right? The problem is, this is old technology. There's a lot better ways of making people more aware of their surroundings with earbuds. The biggest issue with these is these earbuds are still canceling out, I'm going to guess. I'm just going to throw this guess out there based on my experience with earplugs. I'm going to say these cut out and reduce about 15 decibels. And you might be thinking, that's not a big deal. But here's the thing. Going from the Sonys that are completely open with a big hole in them to this that cancels out probably 15 or 12 decibels, you're really missing a lot of sounds. And to get even more scientific with it, do you know what noise masking is? Essentially, what noise masking is, and it can be used with any product, even outside of headphones or earbuds or anything, it could be just a fan. Noise masking is having a sound that reaches the same decibel or a little bit higher than the sounds surrounding you. So what does noise masking do, right, in this type of situation? Well, let's say you had your music up this high and your surroundings are only this high. Okay, so you're reduced down 12, 15 decibels, and then your music's loud enough that you're having a hard time hearing the sounds around you. It kind of eliminates the awareness thing with these. And let's say, in my situation riding a bike, I'm getting a lot of wind noise, the road noise, all of these things. Maybe I don't hear somebody riding their bike up behind me because I have my music a little loud, so I can hear it because of the wind noise. And again, this is just the extreme. I'm not saying that these make you less aware. They do make you a lot more aware. But the only thing I can think of is these are for people who ride on the road, jog on the road, run on the road. And your main goal is to hear vehicles. Outside of that, I don't see how these could make you more aware. Take, for example, people were talking about using those Sony Link Buds in an office space so that you could have conversations on the phone as well as have conversations with your coworkers. In this case, these would be very ineffective because they would block out too much noise to have a conversation with somebody standing in front of you. Me personally, I've used them and talked to people who were standing in front of me, and I had a hard time hearing them. So that is like the last negative for these, and you already know the positives. But yeah, they're cool. They're just really cool, and I love the way they sound. They work as designed, and I feel like if I'm on the road, I'll be safe. I'm not going to have a problem. But for some people, these might not work. And use this information to help yourself. You know, do you think these are good for you or not? Certainly, I think having both the aware and the focus is really nice. It gives you options. Some people say it's gimmicky. I say it works, especially if you're in the gym and you really don't want to be bothered, or you are in the gym and you want to be able to be aware of your surroundings a little better. So these are the Sennheiser True Wireless Sport Buds, and I gotta tell you, I like them. They're pretty good, and they sound fantastic. Let me know what you think if you've used these or have any questions about them and their functions. Maybe I didn't cover something I forgot, but reach out, comment, let me know what your thoughts are and what questions you might have. And as always, make sure to join the Facebook group Hi-Fi File Hunters, and we can get conversations going, and you're going to learn a lot more about audio equipment there. I'm always talking about audio equipment and how to buy it and what really works and what doesn't work. So that's the video. Like, comment, subscribe, share if you really want to, and I'll see you guys later.